From the Middle is proudly a founding member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Oh, for the love.
Sorry, just clearing my Mountain Dew hole.
I got my phone hole cleaned today.
That's where you keep it?
You're so cerebral and you're so developed and evolved. From the Middle After Dark over here.
And welcome to From the Middle. Dylan is pinching one out. Corey's over there with a goofy grin on his face. And my name is Kendall. You are listening to From the Middle. This is episode number 70.
Oh.
Yeah. And we are three middle-class guys living in the middle of America, in the middle chapters of our lives, with a point of view somewhere in the middle. We talk about all kinds of fun stuff. We do dive into geek culture stuff. We talk about sports sometimes. We talk about dad life quite a bit. We talk about pools, and we do talk about pools recently. We have yet to talk too much about sandwiches, but I vow that we're going to talk more about sandwiches in the future. That's our promise to you. We are an odd pod, if you will, of a podcast. We don't claim to be experts on anything, but we do love to talk about anything, and that's what we're here to do. And it's our little mode of escapism, and we invite you along for the ride.
In many ways, you guys have gotten me through this pandemic. I so look forward to our time together. And it's fun to just, like you said, to just escape into conversation of what's going on with each of us and have this sort of standing appointment to hang out. So it's good for me.
You're going to make me cry.
I'm glad you broke the silence on the sandwiches thing. For all the listeners, get incredible amounts of hate mail for not having talked more about it.
We get it. You love sandwiches.
You guys really want us to talk about sandwiches. And look, it's fine. We'll do it at some point. But it's incredible. We finally broke the silence. We will address sandwiches as a topic at some point. So
I'm going to talk about sandwiches tonight.
Oh, how about that? Well, there you go.
A certain type of sandwich. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
If I had a choice, I would be behind ourselves. I don't know what that means. Take that for what it is.
Or don't.
Yeah.
Forget it. Forget
so
that.
how are you guys doing? The weather's getting cold around here. Is your heat turned on yet?
I did. I got this little 10x10 office,
mm-hmm.
and there's always a point of the year where I switch from the little air circulating fan to the space heater. And I switched to the space heater last week. Got the beanie on, got the space heater. Pool's still full of water. It's not Jell-O green anymore.
That's good.
It's now very bright blue turquoisey, but it's cloudy because there's way too much chlorine. Once it's clear, we'll clean it out, close it down. So that's the quick update on the pool. But
Is that just a timing thing that like it'll eventually get clear, or do you have to do stuff to it?
So they call this frosty pool when it's like it's clear or it's turquoisey, matches the liner, like it looks good, but it's just you can't see your hand 4 inches in the water.
Yeah,
it's just too much chlorine.
Yeah.
So once that kills all the badness in there, we'll get the remaining leaves out and close her down. So.
Good. Thanks. Does that have anything to do with the sandwiches that you're going to talk about later?
No.
You didn't make
this. You know what? This would be
sandwiches.
This would be a good little story because in the last episode I said that I was having a guy come over to help me, right?
Yeah. So
I just Googled like Sunbury pool companies. And I found a Facebook page. Probably shouldn't say it. But anyway, this guy, Kevin, comes over. Kevin, super nice guy. what around here we would refer to as a good old boy. Couple teeth missing. Came over and he just took one quick look at. See, normally he just closes pools. He doesn't clean them.
Mm-hmm.
But he came over, he took a look at the water, and we've talked about this so many times on the podcast. When you're doing anything, taking on a new hobby, learning something, there's one group of people that says, well, you always got to do this. And then there's another group of people that's like, never do that thing that those people just said. And they are both experts and they both know what they're talking about, but they have very strong opinions about the right or wrong way to do something, right? So Kevin comes over and this was so funny because this is my first year and I don't know what I'm doing. So I got out all the chemicals, all the vacuums, all the things I had to show him and be like, should I do anything with this? I got some of this. What do I do with this? Should I use this? So anyway, he comes over. He's like, all right, here's what you're going to do. You're going to drive down the road 2 miles, take a left on 3Bs and a K. You're going to go to this little place. It's going to look like it's just a loading dock. There's no signage anywhere. Just take the side door. You're going to go inside, ask for Sue. You're going to ask for 4 carboys. You're going to put 2 of them in the water. After a couple days, your water's going to be clear. I'm like, okay. So wait a minute. Unmarked building, woman named Sue. What are carboys?
And should I bring my gun?
Yeah. So I do exactly as he says. I go down the road. I go over the overpass of the interstate, turn left on this little side road, completely unmarked building, go to the side door. It's 4:25 on a weekday. I knock on the door and I'm like, I'm looking for Sue. In this industrial office, and 3 women who have just closed down their computers and are grabbing their purses are like, you got to come back tomorrow, sweetie. And I'm like, well, what time do you guys close? She goes, 4:30, because it's 4:25. She goes, 4:30. Well, we already closed our computers down and we can't work overtime.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
So anyway, next day I come in, a little snarky this time because I was a little bothered that they closed 5 minutes early. So I go, can I spend money here now? Will you take my money now? And she goes, yeah, sorry about the other day. No problem. What are carboys? They're 2.5-gallon jugs of liquid chlorine or liquid shock. And I'm like, I'll just take 4 of those. She's like, all right, go around. Anyway. So it was quite comical. Pour that in the water. Like 2 days later, it goes from jello green to, like, other than the cloudy part, crystal clear. Amazing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I thought that was funny. Thank you, Kevin, for the advice. Super helpful. But it was just so funny. Like the things that the pool company told me you definitely have to do. He's like, yeah, I don't even pay attention to that. Like the air pressure in your filter. He's like, they tell me when it's 10 PSI over its normal running speed, you need to clean out your cartridge because that means there's enough stuff in there that the pressure is getting higher. He covered it up with his hands. He's like, yeah, I don't even look at those. And I'm like, okay.
One of those guys.
Yeah. Hashtag learning curve.
Sure. That's funny. You know where I thought that story was going?
Where's that?
In my head, the story played out that Sue, that you made these weird turns going down the roads, unmarked building, whatever, pull up and open a door and ask for Sue. And then it's a small town and Sue ends up being the lady who was behind you at that traffic light. That's where I was hoping the story was going.
Well, Sue, her son, owns one of my new, because now I'm using my people skills and I'm trying to be charming, even though you annoyed me the day before, Sue and company. Now I'm being kind, even though you don't deserve it. So now I'm making small talk with Sue while she's ringing me up for the carboys. And her son owns one of my new favorite restaurants in Sunbury. And she says, you should ask for the Sue special. It's not on the menu, but they'll make you my favorite sandwich Not 2 times sandwiches are going to come up. It's actually a wrap. Does that count? A cheeseburger wrap that she asks for every time she goes to her son's restaurant, which I now know to ask for when I go back.
Mm.
So got a little pro tip.
Mm. We're gonna have to all go there someday when the COVID's over and just we'll all ask.
Chemical supply company or the restaurant?
No, the restaurant. Just all ask for the Sioux special.
Okay, let's do it.
It'll be fun. We can review. We can do an off menu review podcast of all kinds of different places.
I like it.
Mm.
But anyway, these carboys work like a propane tank. You just get them. You pay a deposit to get the jugs, and then you get them refilled for a cheaper price each time you go back. So now I know, and I'm going to save some money on shock for my pool.
Boom.
Cool.
What about you guys?
I was really hoping you were going to get into the dirty details of what was on the sandwich, but that's just me.
We'll have to reveal that when we go and order it.
All right, that'll be some behind the scenes content or something for the listeners. Now I'm hungry. You just meant sandwich. I'm hungry. You didn't have
I'm going to be thinking about sandwiches until we eventually talk about it. But for now, for the past more than 2 months, I don't know how long it's been. Like a lot of folks, my wife and I have been just kind of like going through doing indoor housey stuff during COVID. And not that COVID had really anything to do with it, but it just happens to be during COVID when a lot of other people are doing the same thing. And so it started with us wanting to get our basement redone because it's been well over a year now that we had a minor flood in our basement, and that served as a catalyst for us to throw out a bunch of stuff that we probably could have saved, but we just didn't want to. So we just kind of got started, and we're saying we're just going to start gutting this place out. There was some nasty old carpet down there. The basement was finished. We got rid of all the carpet and everything. And for the past long time now, the basement's been like anyone else's basement. It's just been storage of random things. And we wanted to get that back. And so we started early in the year getting a hold of some contractors. And we got like 4 or 5 quotes, but then we never really moved on anything. And then we decided, we want to paint. And so we've talked about painting on the podcast. And so like one whole half of our house was serving as a staging spot for all of the stuff from the other half of the house because we were painting everything. And for anybody who knows me, like having like walking into a room with that sort of like disorganization just like immediately brings my stress level up, and it's hard for me to relax and those kinds of things. That's what she said. So so we got the painting done, and we had most of the stuff kind of moved back in stage to where it was going to go, and sold a bunch of things, but we still remained like in our living room kind of a cache of stuff that we know we're not going to put back where it was in the rooms. We're still trying to sell it or figure out what we're going to do with it. But things were starting to look up. And then we decided, hey, we're going to move on the basement project now. So while we were painting, we got another couple quotes, some fresh quotes because the other ones were old. And then ended up signing on with a contractor to do some stuff in our basement, and including flooring and building some new walls to make some new rooms and things. And so then that has been going on. And in order for that to happen, we had to like move most of our junk out of our basement up into the same half of the house that anyway, long story short, it's been a stressful situation for me. Like it's just like if my stress bar is right here as a baseline, when half the house is just filled with junk, it just my baseline jumps, right? So
I can relate to when I walk into a space that is organized and tidy, I feel my whole body feels better.
yes,
I feel comforted. I feel warm. I don't think I could live in a house that we were remodeling where every room became the staging room for the, like, people who go in and flip a house and they live in one room while the other rooms are getting done, and then that room gets done, and then they just switch it all. Like, to live in a constant state of fixing it up, I don't think I could do.
Yeah, I can't.
I could not. I would never feel it, because you're just always looking at the work, and maybe that is the motivation for people. But yeah, to try to be comfortable in a house where you're on subflooring in the rest of the house and everything's temporary and paint buckets and sawhorses and sawdust and drywall, I just don't think I could do it.
Yeah. So, but it's all coming to an end now. The contractors are done with their work for the most part.
I might need the number of your basement guy that you're hiring, because we're going to have ours finished.
Yeah. Well, he's done. He's done. He is available. Well, not. I mean, it took a little bit of a anyway. But no, so it's done. There's a light to the end of the tunnel now, and we're ready to start moving stuff back down. But before we did that, we got something fun and cool and exciting for me. Something, for the kids.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, an air hockey table, and not just any air hockey table, a Marvel Universe air hockey table.
What?
And there's all these listeners out here who are thinking, of these three idiots, the one who got the Marvel Universe air hockey table is the one who has never seen any of the Avengers movies.
Shame.
Yeah, but
Daddy, who's that character? I don't know.
I think that's
red guy.
Yeah, that's red flaring, I think.
Captain Gandalf, I think, is the other one's Dumpity Dump, and then there's
No, it was so cool. Like we decided, my wife and I, that we do Mother's Day every year, we do Father's Day every year, and we decided that we want to do once a year. We want to do a Kids Day, and the way it works in our house is we're going to do a Kids Day once a year. It's going to float, so Mom and Dad just decide when Kids Day is that year, and what we do, whether it's we buy them something special or we do something special with them or something like that. And so it was so fun, like a 5 and 2 4-year-olds, sitting them down and explaining to them, guys, we do Mother's Day and Father's Day every year. Well, in our family, we do a Kids Day every year. We celebrate you guys.
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, so this air hockey table seemed appropriate for the three of them. It's one of those, I want to have a game roomy kind of area of the basement, but it's not really big enough for stick swinging for billiards. And a ping pong table will be fun. I'm sure we'll have one eventually, that kind of thing. But 5 and 2 4-year-olds can't really do any of those things. Air hockey they can do and enjoy. And specifically, the Marvel Universe air hockey table, when we were buying our refrigerator a year ago, that was a long process for whatever reason in the store where we purchased it. And I was there with the kids. Amy was there and shopping fridges with the salesperson. And I spent a lot of time with the kids just trying to kill time in this furniture store.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this Marvel Universe full-size air hockey table that somebody plugged in for us, and we spent a long time playing air hockey on that air hockey table. And so when I'm trying to feed questions to my kids about what would you guys want, I bring up air hockey tables, and the oldest, the 5-year-old, immediately remembers that Marvel Universe air hockey table. and which I didn't even remember it, right? And so I remember that, but I didn't remember that it was a Marvel Universe air hockey table. So then I went and just out of curiosity started to look for it, and and uh, and indeed, like it's obviously a relatively new product. It's a limited edition product. You can still find them new, um, but they are limited still. And so just on a whim, I just did a Google search for Marvel Universe Air Hockey Table, Columbus, Ohio, to see if I could buy one, even new, to find out what it would be. Found a used one for like a sixth of the price.
Nice.
And I know that it's not old, right? Because I've now learned some things about this air hockey table when it came out. So yeah,
Love it
snagged
when a
that thing
plan
up.
comes together.
Yeah, rented a van, basement got finished, and told the kids that it's kids' day, and snuck an air hockey table into the basement.
That's
It was
so
a good
fun.
day. It was a good day. It was fun.
You're gonna
Good
make a
job,
lot of,
Dad.
Yeah.
you're gonna make a lot of memories on that table. And Sherry and I were just having the same discussion that you guys did. It's like our basement isn't huge, so when we finish it, it cannot be huge playroom and man cave and workout area because we have a
Right.
treadmill and are getting an elliptical. So you almost have to make it like a multi-purpose room where the treadmill can fold up and get pushed against the wall, and then futon can fold out if guests come over. And so that's part of the discussion we're having is like, how do you set it up such that it accommodates the different things that you want it to be? But that's fun, man. I like the idea of Kids Day too. That's adorable.
Yeah.
You guys are good parents.
Yeah. Beat that, Dylan.
Did you almost sit on your kid or something?
Just
Have before. Oddly, I have only one real update, and it's just the headline, and then we'll move on because it's going to be a long time until we can really talk about it. But for the love of football, XFL is coming back in spring of 2022. So we got some time. We got almost 2 years, but it doesn't matter.
mm-hmm.
We talked about The Rock bought it with some
Dwayne
other
The Rock.
business
Yeah.
partners, bringing it back in spring of 2022, and I'm very excited about that. So that's old news for anybody into sports that's listening to this now, but it's very exciting news. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that in a year and a half when things get closer.
Most definitely.
How's the NCAA football video game bracket going?
Great. I have lost some of them. I'm trying to let me pull it up. I have it on my side monitor. I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've played 9 games. And it's coming along really well. It's not looking good for the Big Ten, as everyone might expect, because it's a flip of a coin, and then I got to follow the rules to see how it's going to play out. So there's been some really fun games and some frustration and tears, but we're going to keep playing through, and I'm having a blast doing it. So
Yeah, that's big of you.
yeah, I thought so. But that's it. I have no other major updates. XFL's coming back, and I'll have to share a screenshot of the progress. Maybe once round 1 finishes, because that's a big round 1, and I've got about less than half of round 1 left between the 4 divisions. So
Are your screens synced? Can you share now?
hold on.
Let's make this interactive for our YouTube viewers.
Technology.
Gotta figure out how to use it. Oh, share screen, the big green button.
Yeah, go with that one. Nope, still see you, Dylan. Oh, nope, there it is.
Nice.
Okay, taking a look.
Yeah, so I built a very pretty.
That is
bracket.
beautiful. Well done.
It's
Yeah.
great. You can see how the first round is playing out so far. So that'll be a little YouTube exclusive for anybody that wants to head over
Mhm.
take a look
Nice.
at where so far.
Yeah. Oh, Iowa State upset there. Iowa State over Wisconsin.
Oh man, yeah, and Alabama.
Tech over Penn State.
Yeah, Alabama losing in the first round.
Oh, I missed that one.
Georgia losing in the first round, and those are both 1 seeds, man. So yeah, it's the most boring. Here's one of my awards so far. The most boring game was Clemson and Miami. Florida so far. Was the most boring game by far.
Who did you play in that one?
I flipped to play as Clemson, so
Mm.
it was not interesting whatsoever.
Who did you?
I think that one ended like 42-0 or something, and that's on a relatively competitive setting. So
Yeah, that's like a Ohio State in the college football playoff score.
yeah, that's exactly right. So yeah, so that's where we are. It's been fun. I'm gonna keep playing through. I'll push a social media update, like I said, at least when the first round is complete. There are some of these are more fun when you look at them. Like Texas A&M Cincinnati kind of feels like it could be a fun one.
Mhm.
Boise State Oklahoma is going to be hopefully a good rematch from the Fiesta Bowl a few years back. Let's see. North Carolina, Texas was surprisingly very close. So, anyways, this isn't going to be interesting to most people, but it has been fun to me, and I'm glad to be playing through it as an added bonus on top of the season that is about to start for the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, the reality there is we were all kind of hoping that college football would just be canceled outright, and then Dylan's thing would shine, and that everybody in the whole world would come and follow Dylan's tournament.
Yeah, it was going to be like March Madness, but for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Watch me play.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's where we are.
Cool. Well, this week is my last week at my job. I've been sitting on this news for a while. It's been a slow developing thing. A handful of months ago, our company decided that they no longer required the services of our little team of 15, the group of people that travel the world and facilitate strategy summits with customers and draw on walls and such. So they said, we're phasing you guys out. And 5 of my colleagues in a very small team, again, of only 15, were let go. But I was still employed. And so the options were to wait and see what the company may have you do, wait and see if you're in the next round of layoffs, or start making moves. And so I put a short list together of some of the customers that I think I've delighted over the years that have said, you should come work for us, and put their names on a list, as well as some companies that I just find inspiring, that I think do really cool work similar to, and some not so similar to, what I currently do. I also entertained the idea of just doing the freelance thing full bore and full time, and trying to make that, my sole income. While I was doing that, some friends who were a part of our group years ago reached out. They had since taken the same capability to, let's just say, a tech company inside of a very large e-commerce business. And
okay.
And said, hey, we've built sort of a carbon copy of what you were doing anyway over here that's going really well. And we heard about what happened to you guys. So sorry, you should apply for this job. And this company has an incredibly rigorous interview process. Some of the big tech companies have 6-month-long, multiple round interview processes. This one is one-shot, 5-hour interview with 5 different interviewers. Jeez. One of which is called a bar raiser, and their only job is to ask themselves, is this person we're interviewing better than 50% of the people that are already here? And if the answer is no, they have full veto authority. So the other 4 could say he's amazing, and they could say nope, and you're out. So that's all in a 5-hour chunk of time with potty breaks in between. So somehow I passed that and was offered.
They've developed a culture of people who all think that they're better than most of the people around them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that thing that like 80% of us think that we're like in the top percent of drivers when it comes to
Yes.
being good at. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're
I
fine.
thought that was funny.
So somehow I passed that interview. I thought I crapped the bed. In fact, when I was on with that person, the bar raiser, because the other 4 were friendlies, they're already on the team. They were fine to talk to. Had a great chat. They asked me a question, and you guys, no exaggeration, I sat in complete silence for a full 10 seconds. And this is a video interview. And I just, for a full 10 seconds, I'm like, there's no way.
We should give the listeners what 10 seconds feels like. I'm gonna start. This is a.
So Corey, tell us about a time when and what did you do, and what were the immediate early results of that decision? Well,
The Jeopardy buzzer has already gone off 6 times during that.
In an interview, you guys, in a job interview, 10 full seconds. So anyway, I thought, I crapped the bed, and there's no way. Somehow, a couple days later, they said, yep, you got it if you want it. And they wrote a very compelling offer. And so my first day is this coming week, and I'm very excited. The culture is interesting, and they do that by design, but that's my next chapter. I've never left a job since I've had a big boy job. I've been 5 companies in 13 years, but I've never left a job. So this is my first time putting in my notice. Yeah.
And there'll be more, including exactly how much Corey is making after a quick word from one of our co-pod network people, somebody that's in our network. Here's a commercial.
Hi, I'm Shannon.
I'm Jamie.
We're Married with Television, marriedwithtv.com. We are a couple of Hollywood normies on the outskirts of the film and TV industry, and we talk about our favorite TV shows, music, and movies, and sometimes they talk back to us.
Sometimes they do.
Our podcast is Married with Television, one word, on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Possibly Amazon soon. And we are a proud member of the Odd Pods Media Network.
Married with TV!
MarriedWithTV.com.
Dollars.
That's actually less than expected.
More than I'm worth.
Yeah. Anywho.
Yeah. So super excited. It's a good opportunity. I like that I'll be working with some people that I've worked with before. But I'm up for the challenge of the interesting culture and their pace. But it just feels weird to leave a job and to put in your notice. And okay, here's a sappy little thing that happened. So when I had a lunch date with Sherry on the day that we accepted the offer, we were leaning towards accepting anyway. At the place where you can get Sue's special. Anyway, see, this is all coming full circle. So we come back, and all I have to do in response to the recruiter is just say I accept, and I look forward to next steps or whatever, right? To get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So I type that up in the reply, and I call Sherry into my office, and I say, hey, let's click send together. So she put her hand on my finger.
You guys are so cute.
We clicked send together. And I actually got a little lumpy throated because it was like I was grieving the loss of this thing that I've loved for so much for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm going to do pretty much the same thing at a new place, it was that job that I've had for the last 5 years that I didn't even know something like this existed. Right. Yeah. And I've had so much fun getting to do it. So anyway, it's just sad that the company no longer wants it. And, but those are the times we're in, and I'm thankful to have a job and be gainfully employed when so many aren't.
Yeah, I think sometimes I had worked somewhere for a little over 10 years, and I think sometimes even though a lot of the people that you worked with are no longer there, it is that moment where even you leaving the place feels like you're leaving the people that aren't even
Yeah.
there anymore. So
Yeah.
you're grieving the relationships that have already moved. Even if you're still friends with them and you still talk to them, you feel like you're walking away from the people when those people might be gone.
Yeah.
So there's layers to it.
It's the cliche of the chapters too, right? You know, you're closing that chapter and it was wonderful and fun, and you don't know what the next one looks like. You have an idea, but you don't know. In your heart of hearts, you don't know. And so I think that was part of it too. Anyway,
Anyways, well, congratulations.
thanks, man. This is bananas. I cannot wait to tell you guys this story.
ANANAS.
So Dylan and I's mother has a boutique in Amish country. Yes, folks, we have Amish around us here in Central Ohio. And it's kind of a hot spot. It's a popular place for folks to go. There's a ton of shops and restaurants on the main strip. And my mom wanted to have our 3 kids for the weekend. And we thought, Corey starts his new job the following week. This is a perfect time for us to have a little staycation, just the 2 of us. So we'll take the kids up to Amish country to be with mom for the whole weekend. Great. On the way there, I spotted this little bistro that I thought would be a lovely candidate for after we dropped the kids off. Sherry and I should come back to this little bistro for a late dinner. So we dropped the kids off. It's an hour and a half to get there. We dropped the kids off. It was the first time I got to see my mom's store and actually go inside. She's done a great job with the place, and they're doing very well. So excited to see that. And we visited for a while, and then it was like, bye. We're going to go start, a full 48, almost 72 hours of being together. So we leave, and now my goal is to go to that little bistro I saw on the way there, which is about a half hour away now, and it's already dark. Okay. So we're driving back, and I tell Sherry, and she can validate every bit of this story. I am not exaggerating. I say, hey, with this cold front that's just moved in, keep an eye out for deer. She's driving. I kid you not, less than 2 minutes later, the SUV immediately in front of us smacks into a deer on the road. It wasn't one of those, you saw it cutting across the field slowly. It was like ditch, road, bam, and they smashed into it. Sherry has to slam on her brakes to avoid hitting them, and the car behind us has to slam on its brakes to avoid smashing into us. The deer is laying in the opposite lane, and Sherry pulls off kind of on the shoulder, and we put our hazards on, and I walk up to the people in the SUV that hit the deer, and they're rolling their windows down, and I say, hey, are you guys okay? They were a little bit shaken up, but they were like, yeah, we're okay. Everything's fine. This is a rental car and everything.
Oh, man.
They were from north of Dayton. They were spending the weekend in Amish country. So probably two couples that have small cars get a big car to all go to Amish country together. Mm-hmm. So the guy behind us, though, is mad because he didn't see what happened. So he flies around us and somehow avoids the deer that's laying in that lane of traffic. Anyways, when I hear one of the women say, do one of you have a gun? Someone needs to put it out of its misery. And in that moment, I realized that I do, in fact, have my firearm on me, and that I'm going to have to pull out my 9 and bust a deer cap. So hold your Corey hunting jokes until the end of the story.
Is it bust a deer? Bust a cap in a deer? Or I think it's like...
Are we
We
even
can
allowed
talk
to
about
use
that later.
phrase? I don't know.
I'm thinking about like
Well-
ammunition cap, and that's what you're busting, and then you bust the cap, and then
The passenger of the
Missing the point.
SUV drags it into the ditch. Now there's a line of cars. It's dark. There's a line of cars now on both sides of the road waiting for us to move the deer. We drag it into the ditch, and I'm just like, but not everyone, I thought of this later, not everyone saw us drag a deer into the ditch.
Or is prepared to hear a gunshot.
They just see a man shooting 3 shots into a ditch
Mm-hmm.
and walking away slowly. You guys, of all the things I never thought I would have to do, and if you listen to the episode where I missed 2 deer in one weekend, I did in fact dispatch the wounded doe properly.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cuban sandwich at the restaurant we had seen earlier was delicious.
In regards to the deer, it turns out you just need a handicap when you go hunting.
I need someone else to do
This one-
most of the work.
Yeah. Wait, this one was tracked first, and then I shot it.
Oh, so the guy,
Uh,
he's like, "Do you have you have your permit to carry that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, what do I got to do?" He had called 911. They patched him through to that nearest town's sheriff's deputy. He's like, "Are you guys okay?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they go, "Do you want the deer?"
right?
And
They got to
And we're-
ask.
yeah, and we're like, "Well, we're not really prepared to do that." And he's like, "All right, well, if it's off the road and you guys are okay," and he goes, "Well, it's a rental. Is there anything we need to do?" And he's like, "Nope, they'll figure it out when you take it back." So he got my contact information just in case anybody questioned the fact that, you know,
right,
Someone
right.
assassinated.
Is
a
it-
deer.
Just in case there are any city folk. who
I just
don't-
wonder what some of those people that pulled into the back of that line were thinking when there's just cars with their hazards on in here, blam, blam, blam.
Well, I mean, even worst case scenario, like, what does it say about me and my thoughts on humanity that that most people, all they would be worried about is where they're going, and even if they suspected the worst of what just happened in that ditch, they would just keep going and not tell anybody.
Yeah. So Sherry at dinner, she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm great." I'm like, I can't believe I had to do that. But I couldn't let it wriggle around in the street, right? Like that.
Right? Yeah,
Anyway,
Yeah. You did the right thing.
we had a good weekend.
Yeah. But I mean, let's get back to so that Cuban.
Yeah.
Uh,
That all started because of the movie that Dylan told us about, Chef,
yeah.
where they start making those Cuban sandwiches in the truck, the food truck. And I've had a really good one since when we went to what's the Pins place? Is it just called Pins Mechanical Bowling? Downtown.
That's correct.
Yeah, they had a Cuban sandwich truck outside of there one night that was amazing. But yeah, this place, Black Fork Bistro in Loudonville, Ohio. Really good place, good food. We were there. It was a nice late dinner, quiet, good atmosphere. But yeah, I like myself a Cuban now after watching that movie.
Have either one of you ever had a Cuban like in Florida, like Miami area?
No.
I've heard this thing that what I hear is that you cannot make a proper Cuban outside of this radius of this place in Florida, because there's a very particular kind of bread that apparently there's only one company who makes it.
Mm.
And and like at best you can mimic a Cuban elsewhere, but you haven't had a quote unquote real
Okay.
Cuban.
I was going to
Unless you've-
share a picture. I don't know if you have it locked or what, or screen share.
Oh yeah, here, go ahead.
For anyone that is on YouTube, I don't even know what goes into them because I've never had one. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like it's pork and ham, and I think mustard, right?
And
Beef.
pickles.
Pickles. Yeah, all good stuff.
I know that it's my wife's favorite sandwich. There's or at least I think so. It seems if we're at a place and there's a Cuban on the menu, I can probably guarantee that that's what she's going to be ordering.
Deloish.
I do like them, but
What's the
Do you have a favorite sandwich?
well, I do. I want to pose a question this way, and to all of our listeners, it's a good introspective exercise. That if you envisioned yourself as a sandwich, what sandwich would you be?
I'm waiting 10 seconds again, like in the job interview.
Now, I've thought about this. I'm the one who asked the question, obviously. So these are the kinds of things that I think to myself on a somewhat regular basis. And so I have a prepared answer for this one, and it is I am the Impossible Whopper from Burger King. And it's specifically that one. For a number of reasons. One of which being I walk through life often with the imposter complex, that like, like I feel like people see me or think about me as this and I'm not that. And or like let's take guitar playing, for example. I'm not a great guitar player at all. And but I play guitar on a regular basis in front of people. And it's like I know what good guitarists are able to do, and I'm not able to do those things. And so like that's the way I think about myself in a lot with a lot of things, right? And so it's like it's not really a burger. It's a plant-based thing. Like it's not a burger. It's just kind of, they added something to it so it bleeds, right? And they dressed it like a burger. And they gave it the Whopper name even, but it's not quite that. And then, but like that, so that kind of complex, I feel like there's a warmth and comfort there when you run into other people who share that with you. And then now it's like you can all be friends in your own little depressing circle. And so like there are people who are drawn to that. Like there's almost a beautiful kind of honesty and kind of built-in accountability with that way of thinking. And if done properly, it can encourage and so there's a warmth there that I feel like a lot of people like, that a lot of people are drawn to, that like, you know what? Maybe you're not a burger, but who's to say what a burger is? And gosh darn it, you have lettuce and tomato on you. I'm going to eat you, right? And so there's that. But then at the same time, there are still people who are like, well, you know what? If you're not going to build a new special grill in all of your Burger Kings, I ain't eating it because it ain't vegan. Because it's getting the real meat juice on my fake meat, and I can't call myself a vegan. And how can you possibly sell that kind of burger and try to cater to the vegan? So there'd be people who are pissy because like there's still like little juices and things that like trickle into the Impossible Whopper unintentionally even. And yeah, so like there's a little piece of me that's like, does have some of that other stuff. But it isn't quite the same, and so that's how the imposter complex gets fed. And so anyway, I think of myself as an Impossible Whopper from Burger King.
Well, think about it and let us know what you come up with. So do you know how there's like the fridge is getting bare, right? And there's a lot of things that don't really go together, but you've opened that fridge door enough times that you start staring at all of it and going, maybe there's something there. It's cold. It's a little odd, a little funny. You take a bite, a little funny, mostly just depressing, but somehow you're satisfied just enough at the end to go, it was fine. Whatever that sandwich is.
So I think that's a maybe moldy chicken parmesan that was slapped between two pieces of bread at 2 a.m.
A little funny tasting, a little bit.
Yeah. There's a little funk, but we're not going to question it.
No, it's fine.
Because at the end of the day, it's...
Did you find something? I did. It was fine.
It's 2 a.m. and you need something.
It was bare minimum I needed to get through. It was fine.
Wow, that's a good answer. You guys have good answers. I was thinking about the fact that we had meatloaf tonight for dinner.
What's really rich? I'm thinking like a really rich, like a lobster roll. Like
meatloaf is rich. You think those high and fancy
like
people?
Maybe a prime rib sandwich with like an au jus, but like something has the gold leaf on it.
No, stop it. Anyway,
drinking your champagnes and eating your meatloaves.
Yeah, we just talked about how I'm leftover spaghetti and a tortilla wrap, and we got a prime rib over there. Sandwich.
So Lovey and I were having meatloaf tonight for dinner.
Ooh, meatloaf.
And I was thinking how marvelous that would be tomorrow on 2 pieces of toast with melted cheese.
Actually, does sound good.
And I only discovered this sandwich like a year ago, and people are like, "Oh yeah, we used to do that all the time. Take the leftover meatloaf,
That's why you make more meatloaf on purpose,
and then
build it. Yeah,
put some maybe cheddar on there. It doesn't matter. Maybe American cheese.
Little Havarti.
Yeah, and then make a grilled cheese sandwich out of that, and it tastes like Hardee's used to have that Frisco sandwich. I think they still do, but there's no Hardee's around me anymore. So the point of that is, because I believe in second chances, and because I've experienced forgiveness and grace and been given second chances in life, may not have been the original, you could argue, free will and predestination if you wish, but maybe not the original plan, but wow, this is a really creative way to use that thing in something that can be delicious in a new way that you didn't think of before. And then I also thought I'm just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I'm childish and I don't want to grow up and I'm loyal, tried and true, just a good old pb&j. Throw it in your bag for an adventure because I like adventure, and it doesn't even really matter what you're eating because you just need sustenance to enjoy more of the adventure. So, and you can also throw some Doritos on there and, mix things up a bit. So I'm either a meatloaf grilled cheese sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I like the meatloaf one.
Yeah.
I want a burger. Let me clarify. I want a real burger. That's what I want. No imposter.
Yeah. Sorry.
Good question.
I'll just go hang out with my good friends.
Impossible burgers are very good. From somebody who loves a burger, they're very good.
I've had them. I'm okay with them.
Yeah.
And not actually healthier in any way, right? Just better for the environment.
Yeah,
that's
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I think there's some things about red meat that are not fantastic. So it's probably better for cholesterol or something. I don't know.
What sandwich are you, listeners? Have you put this much thought into that question ever in your life?
You're going to tonight.
Have you ever had to put an animal out of its misery?
You're going to.
Put this podcast out of its misery, right? Hey,
The beginning of the sandwich arc. All right. This is at least a 3 or 4 episode arc we've got going.
speaking of episodes and arcs, once Sherry got back from the deer murder and the Cubans, we I knew I was gonna get you mid-drink. That was awesome. We started a new show. Well, it's not new. It's new to us. The Good Place. It's so wonderful. Have you either of you guys seen?
Couldn't
No.
get into it.
Nuh-uh.
How far do you have to watch for it to be wonderful?
I mean, I absolutely love Kristen Bell, and and so she's right out of the gate funny. And the premise, you get it right away. You didn't like it?
I think we watched 2 or 3 and couldn't get
Okay.
in. I don't
Okay.
know.
Have you guys seen The Social Dilemma, the documentary?
But to be clear, though, like you easily have to watch to the second season, almost halfway through the second season of Parks and Rec for it to start getting really good. So I'm open to the fact that maybe The Good Place is just one of those where it's like, I'm not a huge Kristen Bell fan. Maybe I got to watch a season.
Shut your mouth.
She's fine. She's fine. I'm sure.
Sure. You are un-American, sir.
Yeah, probably. She's fine.
Anyway, have you guys seen The Social Dilemma?
No, is that the Netflix documentary?
Yeah. Here's what I think we should do. I think you guys should watch that. And I think we should talk about it later. Because I found it very interesting. But there were also parts about it I didn't like. And I'm very curious. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, not just on social media. It's a very it's a conversation starter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could talk about it, and then anybody interested could watch it on Netflix in between now and maybe next time, and we just give our thoughts.
What's it called again? Social something?
The Social Dilemma.
The Social Dilemma, and that's on the what now? The net who?
On the interwebs, on the Netflixes.
Interwebs, on the Netflixes. The social distance.
Yep. The Social Distance Lemmas.
Is that on the same like higher caliber like Tiger King? Like it's up there with that level of.
Oh boy, Tiger King is why we got the net vids to begin with.
I know, right?
How's she doing on Dancing with the Stars, Carol Baskins?
She went out first day, I think.
Did you guys see the meme that said, if she doesn't dance to Eye of the Tiger for her first song, I ain't watching?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
I don't know what she danced to, but I did hear in the news that she is already gone. And I think she was the first one out.
Well, sorry if we spoiled that for you folks.
Which no one's surprised.
Yeah, she's a murderer, not a dancer.
She's might have in a ditch after Corey 9. I don't know. So there's a joke there. I'm just too lazy to tell it. I'm not a comedian. I'm an Impossible Whopper for burger.
I was going to say, if you were a comedian, you'd have imposter syndrome about that, and then you're back to your sandwich. I really like the thought you put into that, man. That's a new. If any of you are in therapy or any of you are therapists, maybe that's the question that you need to add to your repertoire in your first session with someone. You'll learn a lot.
I'm going to start one of those fake companies that tells people I can fix all their problems. Only instead of being a magic pill, like or a dietary supplement, I'm going to offer psychology. I have no training, but I mean, I have thoughts and opinions, and that's worth something, right?
Maybe your whole program can be called the Sandwich Dilemma.
The Sandwich Dilemma, yeah. Yes.
You like that? Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, close
I've
us
never
out.
done that before. I just wanted to do it one time. Like, all right, wrap it up. I've never gotten a chance to try to wrap it up like that before. It was just fun. We don't have to. I just
No,
figured-
nope. Let's put this thing out of its misery.
Oh,
Don't make Corey do it again.
Yeah, I can't twice in 1 week.
that's my all right. Well, thank you for everyone for tuning into this episode number 70
Yeah.
of From the Middle. We are at From the Mid Pod everywhere, literally everywhere.
It's
We're on all
literally.
those popular apps and then all the ones that aren't popular, but you can find us everywhere. If you go to anchor.fm/from the mid pod, you can find other places to listen, but more importantly, you can find all our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Podchaser, YouTube, all those fun things. So check us out, follow us, rate, review, all those things, all those places. And if you didn't notice Kendall's hat, he's got a really cool hat on from Artiest Man. Go to artiestman.com, use promo code the middle. Just throw hundreds of dollars worth of stuff in your cart and you'll save 25% off, which is a super friggin' great deal.
The more you spend, the more you save.
Yeah, right before the holiday season, because trust me, you're going to need it. Everything's going to sell out everywhere. So thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been From the Middle.
Bye-bye.